Hello, Dr. Mani sir. Welcome to the podcast of Free Mind. Sir, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, Aryan. I'm pretty much fine.
Sir,
Thank
I
you.
have surfing through the LinkedIn and got to know that about your healthcare industry expertise and about your company and how they are dealing with the systematic issues of the healthcare safety and operations. Sir,
Yes.
I wanted to ask so many questions regarding in this field because nowadays the healthcare is also important for the growth and development of the country. So, this is in the starting phase of the India and in the developmental phase, there must be many problems and irregularities in the system. So, according to you, sir, what is your experience in this field?
That's too many questions. So
Mhm.
we can see healthcare is kind of a very complex field. To be very specific, it's very complex, and to a large extent, healthcare is something. It's a hard nut to crack.
Okay.
Even for developed countries, even for very developed countries, healthcare has always been a hard nut to crack. So, in comparison to some of the developed countries who are resource rich, what we are trying to do is commendable. In the resources that we have, it is commendable. It is not that we are not doing a great job, but we are doing a commendable job in the resources that we have, in the resources and the available uh, outlays for the healthcare industry as such. So, to be very specific, see, you can see it this way. Healthcare, to large extent, is a resource intensive field. I mean by that, it is a lot of resources are required to set up a kind of a system that works without any errors or gaps or redundancies. So it is very resource intensive, and it needs a complete systemic approach to it.
Okay, systemic approach.
See, it is as systemic as sending a rocket to the moon or Mars. Understood?
Yes.
So it is no different. How much of engineering systematic thought process has to be there in sending a rocket to moon or rocket to space or rocket to Mars? It's the same highly systematic process has to be followed in healthcare. That kind of systematization has to be there. But what I have a concern about is healthcare is something, the returns from healthcare might not be measured.
Okay.
You understood? Like, see, if you send a rocket to the moon or rocket into space, it is a revenue generator. Like, there will be satellites roaming around and there will be fees that needs to be paid to access the satellite. There will be money flowing through it because the services are provided. But if you see from a healthcare standpoint, healthcare is something you invest in healthcare. It will be improving the health of a particular population, right? So at that point of time, you might not get the returns. You understood what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes.
See, a government that invests in healthcare might get it benefits probably after 5 or 10 years. So the payoff from investment in healthcare is pretty long, and it is so abstract. The payoff from healthcare is very abstract. It won't be seen the next month probably. Okay, isn't it? So healthcare spending to a large extent, most of the even across the world, healthcare spending might not be in the range of actual requirement.
Okay.
Understood? Because the politics behind it is like that. Because you don't see the immediate results. If you invest, let us say, 100 crore into a healthcare project, it will get into the system and it will improve some aspects of healthcare, but the returns you might not see. Understood. You see, for example, let me compare it with a highway. Let us say you invest 100 crore in a highway, you get the toll tax, right? You'll get the toll out of it, and people can get the money out of it. Once the investment is done, you get money out of it, probably in 1 year, 2 years time. Healthcare, there is no money coming back. Only societal good, or the good of the nation, or the good of the population is actually, how can you measure that?
Yes, sir, we can't measure that.
Only for the metrics, probably the mortality, infant mortality will reduce, like perinatal mortality will reduce, or the quality of the healthcare is improving. These are very abstract metrics. So that is a broad-based understanding, because if you have to measure the turnaround in healthcare, it is very tough to measure. Understood. And that is why I feel there is a kind of a discrepancy, or the deficit in spending might, I feel that might be the reason why there is a deficit in spending across the world, not only in our country. Across the world, the spending into healthcare is a concern. And it is very resource intensive. You can't take shortcuts in healthcare. That's what I sincerely feel. So in that way, gaps will always be there. When there is spending deficit, there will be gaps. Obviously, if you have a spending deficit and the rockets are made, obviously the rocket will fail one day.
Yes, sir.
Same thing. It's the same thing with healthcare also. I would not take it for our country. It is across the world. It's the same concern that we as a healthcare professional have faced. So that needs a systemic approach, a continuous support, monitoring, continuous monitoring, civil action. Like, people will have to be engaged in the healthcare systems. For example, the people have to be engaged in their local healthcare systems. Like, they should know what their facilities are. They should get involved in their local healthcare facilities, healthcare centers. Something like Mohalla clinics have been started recently, right? Mohalla clinic. It's a good concept. Taking healthcare to the doorstep and stuff like that. But even the population has to accept it and embrace it and be a part of that culture. Okay.
Yes.
Understood. If there is a hospital in your area, you should get to know the hospital, who are there, who are the guys who are working, who are the guys who are not working. There has to be a community board, a community overreach, or a community monitoring center, some kind of a community access, wherein everything can't be left to the government. Understood. Yes. Government has too many things on its mind. But if you trust too much with the government might not be able to do much.
Yes.
Especially when the complexity of the problem is so large. So even the citizen have to play their part in supporting the government in taking care of the healthcare organizations. Okay. Understood. So that is what I feel. That is why I personally feel that the people also have to play a part in the daily review or the daily running of the hospital to make it run better for themselves. Probably a community committee should be there, like community committee of people, the elders who work with these healthcare administrators to understand what is the problem they are facing. It can be the water problem in the hospital. It can be the sanitation problem in the hospital. It can be infrastructure problems. The local community should know these are the problems that they are facing. Probably that can be taken to the local leaders. See, it has to be a systemic approach. The biggest concern is probably across the world, the systemic approach has to be strengthened. I will not say it is not there. It is there, but if it has to be strengthened. If it is strengthened, then the gaps might be reduced. That's what I sincerely feel. That's what I can answer. It's a large domain, but that is what my answer to it is. A systemic answer, a systemic thought process, a systemic way of thinking to address the healthcare challenge. That's what I would want to summarize it.
Okay. According to you, sir, means we must channelize our medical resources through the systemic approach.
Yes, with a systemic approach. Systemic approach, yes.
So then, how do you think the healthcare system can address the growing concerns around the safety of female medical professionals?
That is with reference to safety in healthcare organizations.
Yes.
The most important thing is from a systemic approach. I would want to answer it from a systemic approach. From a systemic approach, the first and foremost thing for healthcare organizations is accreditations.
Accreditation, yes.
Accreditations. See, accreditations is like, across the world, accreditation is considered to be one of the most important aspect of healthcare organizations. See, for example, there are international accreditations, national accreditations.
Yes.
International accreditation, Joint Commission International is an international accreditation organization. National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers is an Indian version of accreditation that needs to be made mandatory to a large extent to all the organizations, to all the healthcare organizations. That will be the first step in ensuring safety for healthcare workers. Accreditation is very important because it is set to a benchmark. All the organizations need to be set to a benchmark. Whether it is private organizations, whether it is healthcare and government organizations, whether it is trust-based organizations, society-run organizations, whatever the health hospitals they are, all needs to be aligned with a benchmark. If you benchmark the organizations, then the gaps will reduce.
Okay.
Safety is one aspect of the gap. So I would answer it in such a way that accreditation is the most important thing, such to bring in the systematization in the healthcare organizations. If you are accredited as per some quality standards, that will ensure a trickling down effect across the organizations to ensure safety for healthcare providers who are working in those organizations. That is a kind of the most important. Going deeper into it, there are a lot of once you are into the accreditation process, there is risk management.
Okay.
You need to do risk management analysis of organizations. Risk management is a multi-layered process where you actually do a kind of a risk analysis. Where are the risky points? What kind of preventive measures have to be taken? For example, CC cameras. CC cameras are very important, like CC cameras. But most of the organizations have CC cameras, but are they monitoring the CC cameras in a 24/7 fashion?
Yes.
That is a cause for concern, right?
Yes.
So you put the CC cameras, probably most will not work also. So how do you monitor them? How do you have a system to monitor them? That's what I was telling you. A systemic approach, systemic drilling down across organizations, benchmarking across organizations. Why can't we benchmark with international standards or national standards? A lot of standards for healthcare organizations. So I think we need to benchmark it to the international or national standards to ensure that there is safety for healthcare, not only healthcare workers, for patients who are taking the services of the healthcare organizations. That's what is my simplistic answer to a large extent. It is a much bigger answer can be given, but I would not want to go into the details of that. I just want to say accreditation is the way forward for organizations, for healthcare organizations. It should be mandatory. It should be mandatory, not voluntary accreditation. It should be mandatory accreditation for all healthcare organizations. That is what I propose. Yeah.
So, given your background in hospital management, what key strategies would you recommend to improve safety protocols in healthcare institutions nationwide or worldwide?
Yeah, safety protocols to a large extent. I've just given a brief in the first brief in the previous question. Risk management. Risk management analysis is one thing, and there is a kind of a thing called near misses. Near misses are something we need to identify the gaps that are there in the facility on a daily basis, not once in 1 month. Daily basis, people should keep rounds of the facility. People should take rounds of the facility. They should see how many exits are there, how many entry points are there, who are manning those exits, who are manning the entry points, who have ID cards, who do not have ID cards. Who are the patients? Who are not the patients? See, most of the nefarious elements sometimes roam in the hospitals because hospitals are soft targets.
Okay.
Patients are soft targets. For nefarious people, patients and hospitals are always soft targets.
Yeah.
Doctors are soft targets. Healthcare workers are soft targets. They would not try the same stunt in a police station, right? Will they try the same stunt in a police station? They will not. But doctors and healthcare workers, they will try these stunts in the hospitals because we are soft targets. Hospitals are soft targets because they might not retaliate. If they do the same thing with the police station, they'll retaliate. They'll bear the brunt of it. If they do it in the healthcare organization, they might not retaliate. Or doctors, they might not retaliate. So taking that as a cue, hospitals and healthcare providers have become soft targets.
Yes.
That is the reason. So to secure them, you need to have a proper security apparatus. You need to have security people. You need to have a proper police presence. Most of the hospitals need a police presence.
Yes.
In the present circumstances. See, I've seen many other government hospitals have a police outpost. But I don't know how many private organizations have a police contact or a police outpost securing them. At least 1 or 2 police persons should be posted at hospitals in the present scenario with weapons. That is the requirement, because people are coming and there are a lot of hooliganism and a lot of people are keeping themselves at risk to serve the people. So healthcare workers are at a great amount of risk, and I think the government, the private establishments need to pull up sleeves to ensure that they are secured in a proper fashion, in a proper way. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was a broad answer. Yes, sir. That was a broad answer. Security in the healthcare industry is one of the key elements for maintaining regularity.
Yes.
So, sir, in your opinion, sir, what role do healthcare leaders play in shaping the culture of safety within their organizations? How leaders can do better things to achieve this goal?
See, the whole healthcare leadership is the most important thing in driving a healthcare organization. Healthcare leadership is paramount.
Okay.
Most paramount, I would say. If the leader is attuned to the risks of the organization, he will be able to address it before he sees it, before it coming to its organization. That's most important. A leader is one who sees it coming. A leader is one who sees the trend. A leader is one who can guide his team and get them prepared for some eventuality that might happen in the future. So that's the main thing. The leadership, the people who are in the right qualifications, right experience, right moral grounding to be in that positions. That's most important. So leadership is paramount, because everybody will look to the leader. Whether it's the CEO of the hospital, whether it's the medical superintendent of the hospital, whether it's the principal of the medical college, whatever he is. He is the person we all look up to. As medical doctor myself, I look up to him. I look up to that person to guide us, how to go about it, how to secure ourselves, how to make strategies, to department-wise strategies, how to secure our team, our staff members from various other nefarious attacks or elements that might come across in the daily work. Because hospital is a very complex place. A lot of complex scenarios might happen. There are deaths happening. There are injuries coming. There are grievous injuries. There are accidents coming left, right, center. So it's a very complex place, and a person with the right kind of mindset and morality should be heading these organizations. And the governments and the private establishment should ensure that the right kind of leaders are placed in those positions. Not the people who have the backing, not the people who are politically inclined, not the people who are moral compass is on the wrong side. I think that kind of leaders will bring them down.
Okay.
So the safety of the organization wholly lays on the leadership that leads the organization. So it's paramount. And leadership to a large extent should conduct committee meetings, regular committee meetings, and take feedback from the staff, take feedback from the patients, ground level feedback. Ground level. He should be on the ground. He should move on the ground. He should talk to people. He should take the feedback, analyze it, take corrective actions every day. It is not like once in a blue moon he comes to the floors and takes corrective actions. No, it has to be on a daily basis. I used to work with a doctor called Dr. Singh. He was my mentor. He was a very senior person, Dr. Singh. Even now I think about him. He was the guy who spends half the day of his day. He spends 4 to 5 hours on the ground. He goes to every department. He meets every person on the floor. He meets every technician. He talks to them. I had such a good time working with such a person, Dr. Singh. Even now I can't forget him. So that's the kind of a hands-on leadership we want. Whatever I've learned from him, seeing that kind of leadership. We were both working for Apollo hospitals in Chennai. So that's the kind of leaders we need. A person who is on the ground, taking decisions, attacking the issues, being a support to the staff, being with them, nurturing them, motivating them, supporting them when required. When there is a concern, he used to be in the front. He used to get into the front and fight it off and address the issue. That's the kind of leadership we want. Yeah.
So, yes, sir, it was enough. Means leaders play in shaping a culture of safety and all. Means leaders are the baseline of the all government. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good understanding.
Yes.
So, yes. As a computer science student, sir, we are always told that information is wealth. So in the world of technology, so the data analytics, the main key point of today's data. So how can we predict the incidents of violence, harassment within hospital using data analytics? It is a different question, sir.
That's a pretty tough question. But see, technology and healthcare, especially IT technology and healthcare, are two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
Healthcare is as complex and IT is equally complex. So it's a collaboration. It has to collaborate. If healthcare needs to go to the next orbit, we need to collaborate with IT. Information technology and data analytics. In the future, without that, healthcare will not function. Even now it is like that. Without IT and data analytics, healthcare will not function. Yes. So we need to collaborate. We need to collaborate with the sciences, computer sciences on a daily basis. Not just for the revenue management. We have seen IT being brought in only for the revenue management to a large extent, many of the places. Not only for the revenue management. It has to be for systems have to be there for security, safety, medication safety, patient safety, and a lot of things where, as you said, this preventing events, these kind of events. How can we probabilistic models can be put of the behaviors that are observed? See, if you observe the CC footage, you will know who are the nefarious guys who are roaming in the hospital. Yes. Just human analysis. I work with a hospital. I think it is Yashoda hospitals in Hyderabad. I work with that. It has a kind of a nerve center. It has a nerve center that observes. It observes any abnormal movements in the hospitals. In its hospital, it has a nerve center, and it is manned by retired police professionals. It used to be manned by retired police professionals. That nerve center in the hospital used to be manned by retired police professionals who are retired. So they used to see the CC footage and they used to analyze. And it is one of the hospitals that has very robust security systems. I would say I've seen many hospitals, but Yashoda, Secunderabad, and Hyderabad, these hospitals had that robust system where they used to see human level of observation to a large extent would be enough to segregate the nefarious elements in a hospital. Data analytics to a large extent gets to the next level. probably those models have to be tried out. Probably, I don't know at what point we are there, wherein we can use a CT footage to build those kind of models, and how is it useful? Like that is a different topic altogether, and that is a much deeper topic. But I would want to look at stepwise alignment. First, the humanistic review of the data is important. The human should review the data. Once it is so much of data is there that the human can't review, then you have to bring in the technology aspect into it. But especially identifying these nefarious elements in the hospital who causes these incidents or safety issues, it can be addressed with a human eye, a constant human eye. There has to be a constant human eye who is observing who is what people are doing, so that those can be avoided. Those scenarios can be avoided. That's the most important thing. So that's what I.
Yes. So my next question was that.
Yeah.
What are the potential legal and ethical responsibilities of hospital administrators in ensuring the safety of their staffs and patients?
See, leadership's responsibility in ensuring safety of their workers is paramount. That we can't sidestep. As a leader, you should be legally bound. Actually, a leader should be legally bound. He should be answerable for his staffs. If for example, if there is a ship, a staff in the ship becomes injured, it is a responsibility of the captain to answer.
Yes.
He can't say the staff was just loitering around, he got injured. He should be able to answer why the staff is loitering around, how did he get injured, what kind of preventive mechanisms are there, were the preventive mechanisms working, how did that happen? So a leadership's legal responsibility to his staff is paramount. He can't sidestep it. Not only that, every leader should be responsible for every leader should take responsibility. If something happens in his jurisdiction, it is his responsibility. He should own up to it.
Yes.
He should own up. A leader, if a leader does not own up to his jurisdiction, the happenings in his jurisdiction, he is not a leader. He is not a leader. He is no more a leader. He should accept whatever is happening in his jurisdiction. He should own up to it. He should accept the mistakes that have happened. He should take the corrective actions and leave it to the people, saying that this is what has happened. This is where I have faltered. This is what I'm going to do. It is left to the people, whether left to the government, left to the management, whether they want to continue with that person or whether they want to sidestep the person for his inefficiency. So the legal binding of a leader is paramount, not only in hospitals, across all the fields. Leader should be legally bound and answerable to happenings in the jurisdiction. That's what I personally feel.
So, sir, how these systematic changes do you believe are necessary for the policy makers and the leaders to enhance the safety of healthcare workers in India, sir?
You mean the system? Can you repeat that?
So, what systematic changes do you believe are necessary at the policy?
Necessary?
Yes, sir, at the policy level.
Systemic changes are necessary. Yeah. Okay.
At policy level to enhance the safety of healthcare workers in India, sir.
Yeah. See, the systemic changes that needs to be brought in is, as I told you, the first part is accreditation.
Yes.
Accreditation is paramount. Okay. Then there should be a systematic review of the financial requirements of meeting the accreditation. Obtaining accreditation is not easy. It has its own financial outlays. So you need to understand what kind of financial outlay is required to bring in a kind of a positive change on an accreditation level change in a particular organization. So the financial commitments have to be understood.
Yes.
Then the managerial intent, that is called management intent. We call it management intent. The intent of the management has to be there. Either it is political intent, whether it is local management intent or the administrative intent, has to be aligned to bring in that respective systemic change in the hospitals or healthcare organizations. So if the start accreditation process, that itself it takes care of many things. Accreditation itself has a compliance requirements for a lot of policies and procedures and the systems. So it itself has starts that process. So the intent will ensure that there is a continuity of that implementation. So accreditation, the financial outlay, the management intent. These are the systemic processes that are required to bring in transformation in healthcare organizations. The policymakers should understand that these are the three things. If it is done in a proper way, then most of the gaps will get reduced that we face in healthcare organizations at present.
Sir, having conversation with you, I remember my school days. I completed my schooling from Podar International School. You must have heard of that school.
Yes.
School was very aligned with the safety measures. Good. We were used to do mock drills of fire. And
very good.
There was also emergency steps they were taught to us, like when someone suffers from heart attack, cardiac arrest, what should we do?
Codes, emergency codes, right?
Yes. Doctor used to come and teach us. That management was really good.
Yes.
According to you, do you think training and education can be improved to prepare healthcare workers to handle safety and risk emergency by themselves?
Yes, that is paramount. That is mandatory to a large extent. See, thankfully, the Indian healthcare scenario is changing thanks to the NABH processes. Now the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals, the government is bringing in a lot of impetus to hospitals to get to the accreditation processes. Now, because these accreditations are started, accreditation processes, even for laboratories, large laboratories, there is National Accreditation Board for laboratories also. They have also started these accreditation processes for, the government is also supporting that these organizations have to get accredited to get some benefits from the government or get some benefits from the private sector. So these changes have started. See, once these accreditation processes have started, the accreditation itself has a lot of requirements for training. There is called continuous training for staff. There are mandatory training sessions, a training plan, a training calendars have to be put. The accreditation policy itself will have a lot of requirements to align with the policy statements, the vision statements, the mission statement. So, with reference to that, a consistent staff training and, as you said, the mock drills, the emergency codes, mocking of emergency codes, these will always keep the healthcare workers on their feet. Not only healthcare organization, any organization should have their own training plan and should align with these training plans so that the workers are always attuned to the risks of the workplace. See, whatever this violence that is happening in the hospitals, it is a risk that is the occupational risk of the workplace in the hospital. So we need to be attuned to those risks from a systemic standpoint. That is the bottom line. Systemic, not doing one class or two classes in a year. It should be like every quarterly or every monthly sessions, monthly training sessions, whether training sessions are happening properly, whether the right kind of trainers are taking the training sessions, are the sessions being evaluated properly. If there is a proper, non-proper training, it has to be repeated and it should be done in a kind of a standard fashion. So that kind of a systemic approach will always be good for organizations. Either it is a healthcare organization or any other organization. A systemic training plan or a systemic training approach, top-down training approach. The management intent has to be there. Management, you won't believe Dr. Singh, as I told you. He used to take the sessions for us. He is the CEO of the hospital. He is the chief operating officer. He doesn't need to. He could have delegated to someone to take the sessions to us. Yes. But he used to come to our training session. He used to take sessions for us. Those sessions are so important. See, that's the kind of management intent has to be there in training. Normally, management to a large extent, they'll say, I'll identify someone, oh, you take the training session for today, you take this, you take that. No, the CEO should come, the COO should come, the managing director should come for the training session. He should take some sessions. That will motivate the staff.
Okay.
You should not delegate training sessions to the bottom level staff. The top-down approach should be there for training. That will only bring in systemic change in organizations. It has to be hands-on leadership. It should not be hands-off. It should be hands-on. Hands-on, on the ground leadership is what will make healthcare organizations safer. That's what I personally feel.
So then my final question would be that, so finally, what steps can healthcare organization take to create a safer and more supportive environment for their employees, particularly in high-risk areas, sir?
You mean the strategies?
Yes, sir. Strategy in high-risk areas.
High-risk areas, okay. See, for example, high-risk areas, I'll give you an example. I'll answer through an example, right? The high-risk areas in a hospital is, there are many high-risk areas. For example, I'll take the emergency room, okay? Emergency room is a high-risk area because there are a lot of throughput into the emergency area. There are a lot of people coming in, going out, a lot of confusion, complexity. The kind of strategy that is required is it has to be monitored. An ER should be monitored. An ER that is not monitored is a ticking time bomb. The security should have a 24/7 monitoring on an ER facility. And the staff, what kind of scenarios are they facing on a daily basis? Are there any concerns? Are there any counseling issues? Most of the things, the safety issues will come when there is a counseling problem. If the patients are not counseled properly, or the doctors are unable to meet the patient relatives, these are the kind of scenarios. There should be a communication. There should not be any communication barrier. Most of the risk to healthcare workers is from the communication barrier. If you communicate well, most of the risks will reduce. So communication barriers have to be reduced. And the next part is a continuous risk assessment through monitoring. Those are the two important things with reference to emergency area. That is only an example. Like that, each of the departments should have their own strategy. For example, there is a pediatric unit. The pediatric unit, there will always be the problem of missing babies. Somebody might enter the hospital and take away one of the infant from the hospital. These are the problematic scenario. So those kind of things, there should be a CC camera. They should be monitored. There will be nefarious people. Who are the nefarious people who are entering the organization at night? Unattended babies. And these kind of things happen. So each of the department has to have their own risk management strategies. Risk management processes is paramount to ensure the safety of healthcare workers in organizations. Risk management and risk analysis and risk-based corrective actions. That will ensure the staff safety or healthcare worker safety in the organization. That's the simplistic answer, but it is much more complex. Probably once the organization goes into the accreditation process, probably they can explore more department-wide strategies, hospital-wide strategy, and complex across the organization risk management strategies, preventive strategies. These can be explored through the accreditation pathway.
Yes. So thank you for these insights.
Thank you.
Yes, I used to thought that medical is only related to biology and science, but it's a vast ocean of management.
Yeah,
all
it's a culmination of many sciences. Medical science is a culmination of many sciences. There is management involved. There is technology involved. There is pure medical science. There biology, physics, everything is there. It's a very, very complex space, and I hope we give that required importance because these are the lifesavers, right? the governments, the policymakers, the administrators should give them the necessary support. I would not say they are not giving it. I'm saying much is required. Much is required. Otherwise they feel safe, how can they save someone's life? They have to feel safe, right? If I am working in a hospital, I should be feeling safe. If I am fearful somebody would come and bash me, how can I serve someone? So if something has happened of that sort in any hospital, it's a complete it's such a demotivating aspect for a healthcare worker. I myself a healthcare worker, I will feel so demotivating. So I hope it's understood in the right sense and necessary corrective actions are taken to ensure healthcare safety is ensured for the healthcare workers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, thank you for your words, sir. So
thank you, Aryan. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I hope this conversation continues and builds more and more minds attached to it. And I think grassroots level change happens at the healthcare organizations through this talk, probably. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Aryan.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.